The Lenovo Ideapad 3 was all over the place in 2020, and I'm a really big fan of this PC. So much so that I actually switched to it as my primary laptop. So let's go ahead and see what all of the buzz is about. The Ideapad 3 comes in a lot of different configurations, but the specific configuration I'm using comes with an Intel Core i5-1035G1, which is a 4-core, 8-threaded processor. It also comes with 12 gigs of RAM, just over 8 of total available memory, and 237 gigabytes of SSD. The overall look and feel of this laptop is, I'm going to say it's pretty good. The chassis is plastic, but it looks fancy. The screen has some wobble to it, but it's 1080p matte and touch, so not bad overall. The keyboard feels great to type on, and it has a numpad, but it has a lot of deck flex. And the trackpad is great for moving the cursor, but the force click feels uneven depending on where you are on the trackpad. Also, the screen is really bright, but not vibrant. So it's like, yay, but also, what? Needless to say, I think Lenovo was trying to capitalize on what customers actually really valued and cut corners on things that they just are kind of nice to have. Performance, however, is where this machine really starts to shine. Web browsing was super fast and snappy, and the machine was able to stream 4K video at 60 frames a second, no problem at all, even in full screen. Also, during normal use, the fans were super quiet and the laptop did not get hot at all. I went ahead and did some WebGL testing, and as you can tell, we're running at full speed until about 10,000 fish or so, which is okay. It's not the greatest from this class of processor, but it's just fine. I didn't end up trying any gaming, but this should run pretty much any low spec modern game that is out there now, and it should run any emulation you throw at it. It may even handle some of the nicer titles from modern games, and that might actually be worth doing a video on entirely, is how well does the Ideapad 3 perform in gaming. So go ahead and put a comment down below if that's something that you want to see in the future. I would like to interrupt this video with some ASMR and a reminder that now would be an excellent time for you to click the like button and subscribe to my channel. As a small growing channel, your contribution means a lot to me, and I thank you in advance. Now, of course, as usual, let's go ahead and run some Geekbench scores, not because I think you should base your purchasing decisions on synthetic benchmarks, but because I think it is useful to know how your processor and your computer stacks up against some of the competition that's on the market. So let's take a look. In single core performance, we got a score of 1228, which is really good for this processor, scoring around the same as an i9 from the same generation. And for multi-core performance, we scored a solid 3514, which is a little bit ahead of a 6th generation Intel i7. Not bad performance for a machine that costs less than $500. So now let's talk use cases. What would you use this laptop for? Well, I've used this laptop intermittently for the past several weeks or so, and it does word processing, web browsing, Excel spreadsheets, and Zoom absolutely just fine. So I could see this as a really great secondary computer for somebody who is in the business space, right? As long as your company doesn't run super resource intensive programs, you may even be able to get away with using this as your primary computer for your business use. Although I imagine using it all the time for pretty much everything would eventually get annoying, because those features like a not super vibrant screen would start to come at you, and you would start to recognize the deck flex and kind of the screen flex, and it wouldn't be a great experience for prolonged amounts of time, for massive amounts of time spending, on doing actual work. But as a secondary laptop for traveling or client meetings or pitching somebody or whatever it is there, and you use it occasionally, this would make a really good laptop. It would also make a really good laptop just for regular family use, right? It'll run really annoying games that your preteens want to use. It'll do light video and photo editing, and like I said, it'll run pretty much everything just fine. And it's got a pretty big screen at 15.6 inches. So it's a really good family laptop that you could have. And for less than $500, it's definitely worth it. And then, of course, the last use case, I guess, would be if you're a college student, right? It's a budget laptop, but it performs really well. It'll run those games and it'll last you long enough, and then you don't need to feel bad when you break it during your 10th move in your senior year, because it wasn't that expensive and it did a lot of real good when you were in college. So that's my take on use cases. And that does it for the video. If you liked this content, be sure to leave a like and a comment, and subscribe if you'd like to see more of this content in the future. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you later.